Hello and welcome. Our project is on communications in projects, and it is by Ryan Fletcher and Robert Adams. As an introduction, there are various aspects of communications within project management. Some of these aspects include the importance of project communication management, keys to good communication, managing communications, controlling communications, and suggestions for improving communications. What is the importance of project communication management? Often the greatest threats to the success of the project are problems in communication. Communication occurs between managers, workers, and external stakeholders, basically anyone involved with the project. Technical skills are important in IT work, but communication skills are important to a balanced employee. Communication enables project managers to send the right messages to the right people in the best possible way. And lastly, communication keeps stakeholders engaged and project team members motivated. This picture illustrates the various problems involved with communications within projects. As you can see in the different diagrams, communication is often misunderstood and it's not explained properly, which can lead to inaccurate work. So again, why is communication important? You can use a football analogy. A football team can have talented athletes, but if the plays are not communicated, the team will never win. The play call must be communicated to every player on the field before the play starts in order to ensure success. This analogy applies to communication in projects in the workplace. And the employees can be talented, but if there is poor communication, the project will just be unsuccessful. What are the keys to good communication? The first key is focusing on group and individual communication needs. An example of this would be adding more workers, which would create more communication work for managers. Also, everyone has their own unique communication styles. Another key is formal and informal methods of communication. Not all communication needs to take place in formal reports or emails. Informal discussions often greatly benefit communication in a project. The next key is distributing important information in an effective and timely manner. All changes in the project plan must be communicated. People tend to hesitate communicating bad news too. There is no such thing as over-communicating. The next key is setting the stage for communicating bad news. Bad news might be seen like a major setback, but it is still important to be communicated. There are also communication channels, and it is important to reduce the number of communication channels to reduce confusion.
Managing communications is all about three things: timing, technologies and methods, and the purpose of the communication. Timing is revolving around who's receiving communications and how frequently. Senior management might require a certain level of timing, while resource managers would require another, and technical resources at a different interval. This could be monthly, quarterly, daily, weekly. There are different metrics to see who needs what message and how often. But along with the timing, you also have to consider the different technologies and methods of those conversations. Do you have physical in-person meetings? Do you communicate via email? Do you communicate via instant messenger and technologies like Jabber and Skype and WebEx Teams? Do you have online meetings for WebEx so you can get different resources from different areas? All these different types of technologies and methods are required to kind of push forth the ease of access to different communication layers. And then you also have to be mindful of the purpose of communication, which drives those technologies and methods. Who is your audience? What goals are you trying to convey to them? Senior management wants to know the progress status. Are you on budget? How close are you to completion? that conversation might happen monthly or quarterly. What are the goals? Where are you looking? What are you looking to get out of this meeting? Is it strictly updates? Is it a working group to advance the project or discuss problems with the project? Those conversations might need to happen weekly and require a meeting because you want that instant collaboration amongst multiple individuals. And then progress status reports. Again, this looks at the goal and the audience to dictate how often and who receives the communication. These pieces make up the managing of communications and how to manage a communication effectively in a project.
Controlling communication. It is important to have a designated person handling communication. This is important because it ensures the optimal flow of information throughout the entire project lifecycle. Communications at different levels of the project structure include team level, group level, and enterprise level. It is often helpful to have an external communication facilitator to assess how communication is working within a project.
Once you've developed who controls the communication, it's important to improve upon the project's communication as a whole. You can do this a couple different ways. There's trainings, there's looking at what skills you need, and there's practice. The more practice you have with communicating at the different levels, the better you're going to get at it. There's also a wide variety of templates and different building blocks that you can use for improving your communication steps. And then you also need to look at the different technologies and tools that we've talked about in the previous slides to adjust your communication method. Maybe one way of communicating isn't quite working out, so you need to adapt and move to a different one. These different aspects can really lead you to improving your communication as a whole. And then as you do more projects and more projects, you'll get to a point where you no longer need the templates. You can build your own, or you can adjust how you're doing your communications because it's going to be a more streamlined instance.
In conclusion, communication is often the greatest challenge in projects, especially information technology projects. Managers and workers that understand how to communicate effectively provide more value to the team and project. Thank you for watching our video on communication and information technology projects.